my good friend, Miss Watson Coleman from New Jersey.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good to see you, sir, and thank you so much for visiting our Mercer Trenton Airport. It was a pleasure hosting you, and I know that you got to see exactly what I've been talking to you about an airport that provides services to so many people, not only in 12th Congressional District, my district, even in the state of Pennsylvania and in other counties across the state of New Jersey. I appreciate the fact that you not only saw the desperate need for a new terminal, a new fire station, a new traffic control tower to accommodate the growing demand, but in order for the airport to achieve these goals, they will need help from the federal government in the form of grants and formula funding. Yet my airport is an example of the many more small and mid-sized airports across the country that are too in need of federal assistance. And I was hoping to ask what would happen to airports like the one in my district if federal funding was set back to the 2022 levels for operations, for infrastructure grants to the airports, for the airport terminal program, sir, and for the grants and aids for airports. I know that's a bit much for one question.
Well, I'll do my best to answer it all in one go, though, and appreciate the question, because I think it's important to make clear that there would be a real impact here. The Airport Improvement Program formula funds and the allocations of the airport infrastructure grants are based on the employment data for the last full calendar year. So if that's frozen in place, or if the calendar year 22 employments were abnormally low, which is true for a lot of airports, and I think may be the case for Trenton Mercer, which sees a lot of growth in the future but wouldn't be able to book it if they're frozen into that prior level. The consequences that you'd see a reduction both in the entitlements and the allocations. Now, there is a best of three provision in the statute for the 22 and 23 allocations, so it tries to do more of a rolling average, but that would expire after fiscal year 23 as well, unless there were an extension. And so that would, both for that AIG and AIP programming, potentially have a very real impact. The better news, I guess, would be that the airport terminal program is a competitive discretionary grant program that doesn't have that same connection to the employment data, but those other sources of funding would very much potentially be impacted. Mm-hmm.
And our tower program, I mean, you were able to see the site challenge that we had in our control tower.
Yes, and so many towers would be impacted by the kinds of cuts that are being described here. And unfortunately, it would often be at the smaller airports that the cuts would be felt most severely.
So we're really happy to be in what we consider to be the post-pandemic period, and hopefully people get to enjoy vacations and things of that nature. And in my airport, we go to places we like to go on vacation, sunny Florida being one of them. Mr. Secretary, in February, DOT announced the first round investments for the new Reconnecting Communities pilot program, another really exciting and important program. A total of $185 million in grants were awarded to 45 projects across the country to help reconnect these communities that are cut off from opportunity and burdened by past transportation infrastructure decisions. We were able to show you, at least through a presentation, what that Route 29 looks like in terms of cutting Trenton off from its a great resource of the water. I know that several communities in my district are excited to this program, including some in the 12th district, and are working to apply for future opportunities. For FY24, the request comes at $100 million, with $100 million in advance appropriations provided by the bipartisan infrastructure law. And I was hoping if you would share some of the projects that are being funded, why they are being chosen, what impact there will be, and what would happen if that funding were cut as well.
One thing that's been striking in this first of its kind program is the level of demand. In our first year, we got tons of applications in which reflected both construction goals and planning projects to just get communities through that first stage. We had a round of announcements, including, I believe, one in the state of New Jersey, one in New York state that I was able to visit, Buffalo, where they seek to cap the Kensington Express that really is something of a gash through a very important part of the community that community members have been hoping for decades to be able to do something about. There's another example in Florida where an interchange really has had a negative impact on the community, but can be addressed and will be now thanks to this funding. There are places in every part of the country, it's not one region, north, south, east, west, where you do have these pieces of infrastructure that have served to divide rather than connect. And I can tell you that there is more than enough demand for all of the funding we're seeking and then some. Cutting it, I think, would leave a lot of communities disappointed.
Thank you very much. I yield back.